So with that, what I thought I'd do is just, again, go back and hit on that working family tax credit bill. That was signed by President Trump on July 4th. As I said, that bill was almost 1,000 pages long. It was really covered a lot of different areas. I'm not going to try and go through a point-by-point recap of everything that was in that bill, but I do want to hit upon some of the things that I think are really important that are going to impact Nebraska. The first thing, and why, frankly, we're talking about being the Working Families Tax Cut Act, is that it's going to be really great for Nebraska families. If we had not passed that bill, the average Nebraska family would have seen a $2,400 increase in their taxes. Because we did pass that bill, the average American will see a tax cut of $3,750. And a lot of the things in that bill were targeted specifically at families. So for example, the child tax credit, which was set to go down from $2,000 to $1,000, actually went up from $2,000 to $2,200. The deduction from your income for dependent care, we took over $5,000 up to $7,500. The things in it that were good for families, like the Medical Family Leave Act, which was Deb Fisher's bill, was actually made permanent in that. So that's a tax credit to businesses to be able to offer that paid family medical leave. That was set to run out. We actually made that permanent, so that's one of the things that will help our families. We also had incentives in there for businesses to be able to create childcare. One of the things that we heard from a lot of folks is that finding affordable childcare is challenging. So we increased the incentive for businesses to do that from $150,000 up to $500,000. The provision also has things that are going to impact families, like no tax on tips. No tax, so that's no tax on tips up to $25,000. No tax on overtime, up to $12,500. A bonus deduction for seniors, so that 88% of seniors will not pay any federal income tax on their Social Security. And you may recall when I was governor, we passed a provision to end the state income tax on Social Security here in Nebraska. So now seniors will not be paying any income tax at all on their Social Security benefits. And by the way, when Social Security, overall, if you look at all these different tax provisions that are in there, the CBS News reports that the average tax return is going to go up by about $1,000 for everybody in this country. And that will help make it more affordable for people to be able to, for example, go to the grocery store. So that's part of the good things that are going to be in there. The Treasury Department just came out with a projection that because of the working family tax cut, the average take-home pay of Americans will go up by $7,500. And the President's Council of Economic Advisors actually think that number is going to be closer to $9,000. So that's a lot of money that's going to be coming back into people's pockets. So that's one of the reasons why this bill is so good, is that it's going to be putting more money back in people's pockets. And there's a lot in it that we want people to know about as we're going through this, to be able to make sure that you take advantage of all the things that are going to be out there for them. Now that's a lot about what's going to be focused on the families, but there's also a lot in there that's going to impact businesses to be able to help them invest as well. So for example, we've got provisions to make permanent the deduction, for example, in the media expensing of research and development to encourage a climate of innovation. Immediate expensing for plant equipment to encourage companies investing in factories. Same deal for deduction of interest expense, or bonus depreciation. For small businesses, the 199A 20% deduction is made permanent as well. So that's a big deal for small businesses. So all these things should help small businesses be able to invest and create more and better paying jobs for our families here in the state. There's also a lot in it for our number one industry, agriculture. Agriculture is the heart and soul of what we do here in Nebraska. It's about 20% of our economy. And we're hitting on some very key things for agriculture in the working family tax cut bill. One of the things we're doing is helping to open up more markets for our farmers and ranchers. We've doubled the amount of money that's going to things like the foreign market development programs, like market access program and the foreign market $285 million to help develop trade with other countries. Another thing that we can do for that is value-added agriculture. And in the Working Family Tax Cut bill, we extend the 45Z tax credits for biofuels. That's really important, again, for example, for ethanol plants to be able to make those investments that will be able to find value-added agriculture sorts of ways to be able to use things like corn or in ethanol or soybeans in biodiesel. Then one of the other really important provisions for our farmers and ranchers is making the death tax exemption permanent. This is something that has been an ongoing battle in Congress, and we were able to make that permanent. And what that means is that now farmers and ranchers will be able to have some certainty with regard to doing their estate planning, to be able to pass on that family farm or ranch to the next generation. So that's a big deal. Nationwide, it means about $200 billion in farm and ranch assets will go to the next generation of farmers and ranchers and not to the federal government. We're able to increase the Young Farmer and Rancher program from 5 years to 10 years. That is a program that will help get more young people into agriculture. As you all know, it's an industry that's very capital intensive, and so being able to get some of the advantages that you can in that Young Farmer and Rancher program is really key to be able to get some of our young people into taking over either from family farm or ranch, or for the folks who don't come from that background would like to get into that. So that was another aspect of the Working Families Tax Cut. And then one other thing I'm just going to mention is what we did for the Rural Healthcare Transformation Fund. This is a $50 billion fund that will be distributed out over the next 5 years. Half of that fund will go to states directly, and that means Nebraska will get about $100 million directly each year in the next 5 years. And that will go to our rural hospitals to be able to help them either increase their technology, do better database management, maybe help take care of some hard to take care of populations, that sort of thing. So those are just some of the things that are in that Working Family Tax Cut bill that we passed into law and got signed on July 4th. They're really going to be great for Nebraska families here in the state.